Hello and good morning, students. Today we are going to know about solved questions of Ranga's marriage. We are going to discuss this. It's written by Masti Venkatesha Iyengar. The detailed text is completed and I hope it is clear to you. So now let's come to the questions. The first one is, what reason does the narrator give for calling his narration Ranga's marriage? Why not any other title? Why only Ranga's marriage? Answer can be, the narrator in the beginning of his narration explains to his readers that although he could have given a more mouth-filling name to his story, a more popular title to his story rather than calling it Ranga's marriage, for example, like Ranganatha Vivaha or Ranganatha Vijaya, but the story is about someone he is close to, his Rangappa, who was born and brought up in his beloved village Hossahalli, and it is indeed the story of his wedding. So it's about his Rangappa. The word marriage gives a personal touch and also serves to reminisce, you can say remind. The Western influence which Ranga went under when he was sent to Bangalore for studying. So that is the reason he has titled it as Ranga's marriage. Ranga is close to him. It's about a simple person named Ranga in marriage because he had been under Western influence for some time. So the title is Ranga's marriage. Number two is, what does the writer say about the Indians aping? Aping means copying the West. According to our narrator, the English language, which was earlier not very prevalent, widespread in his small humble village, has now become a priceless commodity that everyone wants to behold. He is not very happy about the fact that these English speaking people defiling, ignoring their mother tongue and bringing foreign words into the daily life communication. Narrator does not at all like this. Further, he says in the same answer, he is also disappointed at the fact that Indian geographers, instead of correcting the mistake of English sahibs who did not bother to put their beloved village on any map, they are blindly following their so called greatness. So he is very disappointed that English sahibs, they did not put their village on any map, and Indian geographers, they are not correcting the mistake, they are following them blindly. Next is, Ranga and Ratna were both very fond of the narrator. Justify. How can you say that they liked the narrator very much? The narrator, known as Shama, as single-handedly responsible for the pairing of Ranga and Ratna. He was the only one who planned for their meeting, which culminated into their marriage, and this pairing changed into the marriage. So they were very fond and grateful to him, and thus had named their first child after him. So they respected narrator so much that they named their first child after him. So the name of their first child was Shama. What kind of bride was Ranga looking for and why? After returning from Bangalore after completing his studies, Ranga had deterred. Deterred means not getting agreed, disagree. Ranga had disagreed from the traditional concepts of arranged marriage that was prevalent among his fellow villagers at that time. He wanted to marry a mature girl who was mature enough to comprehend, understand his words and not misunderstand them. He even gave example of Kalidasa's play where Dushyanta fell in love with Shakuntala, who was very mature, thus making him convinced that he could only marry a girl he could admire. So he convinced narrator in this way, saying that I cannot marry a young girl who doesn't know how to clean the face properly, or a girl so young who cannot understand the words spoken in love. She can take the words spoken in love as words spoken in anger. So narrator wants the girl to be mature. Next is, explain, the fellow said he would leave, but he did not move. So this is the sentence by writer in the situation where Ranga was so attracted by Ratna's singing, and he knew that because of him Ratna stopped singing. So he said, okay, I'll go, let me move, let me go, but he was not moving. So let's see the answer. After Ranga had entered the room, raptured by Ratna's singing, raptured, captured, attracted, influenced. But on seeing him, Ratna abruptly, suddenly stopped her singing because he was a stranger. Seeing that Ratna was uncomfortable to sing in Ranga's presence, so he offered to leave. But Ranga was too enamored, too touched or influenced, impressed by her that he did not move. Next is explain there is a greater truth in that Shastra than we imagine. This is again the situation where the narrator took Ranga with him to Shastri, although the narrator had foretold everything to Shastri what to say. But this thing is not known to Ranga, so he's very impressed. He says, Ranga saw that Shastri could accurately predict the reason behind his sore heart. He was upset because of a girl. That's what Shastri said. That it was a girl, no other than the lovely Ratna. He then connected it with the name of Ratna too. Ranga was convinced that Shastra had great knowledge hidden in them which could solve all mysteries. So Ranga was quite impressed and he made this statement. Now, long questions. The narrator pays a glowing tribute to his village Hosahali. What does he say about his village? The narrator goes to great lengths, to great extent, in glorifying his humble but beautiful village. He explains his great dismay. Dismay means disappointment. How the English Sahibs have ignored this small village. The narrator is annoyed, angry at the arrogance of the cartographers. As to ignore the existence of a full village? The Indian cartographers are also doing the same thing. But he doesn't brood over it. Brooding over is to think very deeply. The narrator is smitten. Smitten means influenced, stuck bound, or the one who is not able to move further. So the narrator is very much influenced with the beauty and glory of his village. And in order to justify his glorification, he says that there is a doctor in his village called the Gunda Bhatta who has been to many places yet agrees with the narrator's view. He says that my place is so beautiful that one doctor who has visited a lot of places in the world also finds my place to be the most beautiful one. The narrator goes on to describe the specialities of his village: a raw mango so sour that it can't be eaten whole, the fine pristine water of the village pond, pure, pristine, the creeper growing in it which has beautiful flowers and leaves with which one can have his lunch served. So all these are specialities of his village. The narrator, aware of his digressions means distraction. He is distracted from his text, switches the topic, changes the topic, saying that if the readers wanted to visit the village, they should just contact him. The tone of the narrator is humble and simple, in first person narrative, and it is almost as if someone is having a conversation with the reader. So the language is so simple, like somebody is simply talking to the readers. It's not having so much tough words or new words or slangs or phrases. No, it is very simple. Next is discuss the reaction of the people towards Ranga when he returned from Bangalore. The narrator claims that the priceless commodity that speaking English is was not much widespread back then, and that is why Ranga's homecoming was such a big deal. People were curious, excited to find out whether Ranga has changed or not. His courtyard was filled with so many people that had they been accommodated in the room inside, then it would have been a tragedy like the Black Hole of Calcutta. So it was such a huge crowd that if they entered the room, it would have been changed into a black hole. Everyone was surprised to see that Ranga was the same as before and did not turn into a English speaking or into an English speaking arrogant Sahib. He was not speaking in that arrogance and all. He was quite same. After realizing that Ranga was same as he was 6 months ago, everyone lost interest because he was not different and left. Next is Astrologers' perceptions are based more on hearsay and conjecture than what they learned from the study of the stars. Comment with reference to the story. So, astrologers' perceptions, astrologies are based on hearsay, whatever they hear or say, or conjecture, opinion, then what they learned from the study of the stars. So, do you agree with this? We have to give the reference. Astrology is a business like any other, and most of the times used to deceive people, cheat people. There is a very less genuine effort in the interpretation that is reached and is mostly deduced, taken out of common sense and power of observation and conversations that happen around. So they come to the opinion by using their common sense, their observation, and their conversations with people. There is no kind of interpretation in many of the cases. An example of this, Shastri in the story, who claims that his Shastras are powerful and mighty beyond the normal human perception. But we see him acting on Shama's plan in order to pair up Ranga and Ratna. And in this, his Shastras did not have any role. But when confronted, when faced, challenged, he denies that. He says no, saying that he developed on the hints and the Shastras indicated it. He said that, yes, you gave me the hints, but my Shastras gave me all the indications. But the reader can very well conclude, we can very well see that Shastri had no merit of his own and he could not have done anything to pair Ranga and Ratna without Shama's help. Next is Indian society has moved a long way from the way marriages are arranged in the story. Now, it is moved a lot. The story is written in the early 18th century, and back then child marriages were prevalent, and in custom it was a custom. But they have been banned long now. Now it is banned. Child marriage is strictly banned. On the other hand, although day by day newer generations are embracing, adopting, love, and marrying people whom they admire, there is still a huge prevalence of arranged marriages in India. It is not at all lost. Although people have become more lenient and are accepting and adapting to new ways, finding the need of matchmakers like our narrator less and less every day. So, this is it. These are the questions. And from today onwards, I'm going to give you a new word with pronunciation, meaning, and usage. And what you have to do is to make a dictionary of your own. Okay? You will have to make a beautiful dictionary of your own. So today's word is ambivalent. Okay? This is ambivalent. It is the characterized by mixed feelings about someone or something, uncertain and indecisive about someone or something. So ambivalent, valent, okay, not valent. Ambivalent means characterized by mixed feelings about someone or something. Okay, when we have mixed feeling, we can be uncertain or indecisive about someone or something. We have not clear emotions or feelings. Like, he was ambivalent about his weekend trip as he had many things pending on his to do list. He was not able to do all the things he wanted to do, so he was having mixed feelings. It was not good, it was not bad, so ambivalent. This is the word. Write it in your own dictionary. Have a good day. And these questions are to be written in fair notebook. Okay? Have a good day.